Welcome to Redvee TV's Instant Fan Reaction, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2022 season, which is quite apt because that was the score tonight, Kevin, as we reflect on St. Helens' defeat to Toulouse Olympique over in France this evening. We are relying on radio commentary for this assessment. The changes, Kev, first of all, I think there was, 4 or 5 changes, and we've come unstuck.
Yeah, and that's how sport goes, isn't it? You get a team who shouldn't be a surprise that Toulouse have finally got a win on the board. They've been playing well in the past couple of weeks. No argument that it comes against us. Listen, if one team plays better than the other and takes the chances, what can you do?
Yeah, and obviously Toulouse got on the board after 30 seconds, regaining the kickoff. And again, if you give sides field position, at some point you're going to take advantage of it, and then obviously combine that with some of our missed kicks. Kept Toulouse on the scoreboard in the game, and they've come away with the victory.
Yeah, that's it. You mentioned the missed kicks, and I've seen a couple of people saying if you've not got a goal kicker, you don't win games. I kind of get that. Where you've got to try and make sure you're getting 90% kicks each season. I actually had a quick look at a little fact of the last time we won a game by kicking less conversions and penalties than the opposition. Do you know what game it was?
I don't.
It was the grand final. It was the grand final. So it doesn't necessarily cost you as much. I'd almost argue that the goal kicks didn't cost us as much as that period after Dan Norman's try. Again, we're going on the commentary. We seem to be making yards. We seem to, whenever we had the ball, be punching holes in their defence. But we had 3 sets in the Toulouse 20. And if you're not converting that into some points and not then kind of continuing that pressure, then you're going to put yourself in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, and there's always usually 1 or 2 of these games per year, and obviously we saw Paul Sculthorpe's column in the St. Helens Star this week, which said Saints won't get beat; they can go unbeaten for the year. We've had a discussion separately about whether Saints could go unbeaten, and I think I was saying it might be unhealthy for that run to go on too long, because then the pressure comes about when will Saints be defeated, and it gets ramped up, and you don't want to be going into the big games, the likes of a semi-final or a final, undefeated up to that point, because you're setting yourself up to fail. So in a perverse sort of way, a defeat brings us all back down to earth a little bit. We can carry on week to week, and we can get back on the horse next week. And listen, the seasons aren't decided on a March evening at Toulouse. They're decided at the back end, and they're the games we need to be winning. Yeah,
exactly. You mentioned the Scully thing. Me and Peter discussed that on the preview show, and we said that's not something that you should be looking at now. You go week to week to week. That's something that you start talking about when you are unbeaten after 20 odd rounds. You don't start saying it after round 5, because you get games thrown in like this. You think of like the London games a couple of years ago. One team we sent down there was a very young team. The other one definitely had enough to beat London, but for some reason on the day it just didn't happen. So yeah, I don't think it's helpful when people say that. And listen, as much as I love Scully, I don't think it's helpful when people turn around and start saying that teams will go through the season unbeaten. It's a monkey off our back. Yeah. And I think that somebody has put it in one of the WhatsApp groups that we're in. Who would you rather lose your unbeaten record to? To lose this week, Whitehaven or Wigan?
And it's one of those, obviously, as much as we were saying about it's not helpful to talk about Saints going unbeaten, it's also not helpful for people to think the likes of Toulouse aren't going to go through the season and not pick up wins. Yeah, they are an improving team. Listen, Saints could play them 9 times out of 10, and we'd win 9 of them. Tonight was that one. And listen, let's take nothing away from Toulouse. It brings them back into play in the table. They're off the bottom.
Are they?
They are indeed. Casco bottom on points difference,
Well,
and the level with Cass and Leeds on 2 points. It was hard. It was a hard listen tonight. That obviously, I think the commentary team didn't particularly want us to do well, and seemed to be celebrating a few of them tries near the end on the local commentary. But listen, if you're the champions, you're there to be shot down, Kev.
yeah, exactly. Listen, you win 3 championships in a row, and you're the team that's the fact that Wigan fans, Warrington fans, Leeds fans will all be watching this video or just sticking in the comments, which is great because our supporters love that. They'll be in this going, you've been beaten by them. Yeah, so what? So what? You put up there, you put on that pedestal, as you say, to get shot down. And you've got to take the rough with the smooth sometimes, mate. You can't. You've not got the God-given right to go out there and win every game of rugby by 30, 40, 50 points.
I'm gonna file that game into the London Broncos away category.
Yeah.
That a champion side will always lose 1 or 2, and they're usually the ones you don't really expect to. Maybe you can say we didn't go through the gears this evening. Maybe we didn't feel like we were going to need to. But I've seen people questioning on some of the social media just because we've lost the game, questioning attitude, whether it's right to go out there on the morning of the game. Listen, logistics suggested that's what you need to do rather than having 30, 40 people staying over. It's not ideal, I'm sure. Listen, if the club could go and have 3 or 4 days of warm weather training in the south of France and they could afford to, I'm sure they'd take it. But you balance the risk and you take the risk about going out there, and it's not come off this evening, but it was by 2 points. We haven't gone and got soundly beaten. I don't think we need to lose our heads. I've seen others suggesting they feel sorry for the fans that go out there. Really? I'm sure they've had a great time last night in the south of France, a great day, and I'm sure they're going to have another great evening tonight. If you're travelling to the south of France purely and unite, and your happiness is going to be dictated from an 80-minute game of rugby, then I think your priorities in life are probably wrong, unless it's a grand final or Wembley.
Yeah, there's 2 things I kind of want to pick up there first. The first one is staying out there a little bit beforehand. Wigan played Toulouse and Catalan away and had an extended break over there in between the Toulouse and Catalan games and got nilled at Catalan. So does it work? I mean, suggest that it's just a tough place to go over there. So I'm not necessarily reading too much into that one. And may I suggest that anyone who thinks that feels sorry for fans going out there doesn't understand sport. You go out there and listen, you'd be disappointed that you've not won. I've been over to Catalan when we've been absolutely soundly beaten. Yeah, you're disappointed about it. Yeah, you dissect it. But you know what? You're out there with your mates, with a load of Saints fans who are new mates you might never have met before. You have a great time. You make the best of it. People, you pay your money for a ticket and you're not guaranteed anything from sport. You're not guaranteed it. I mean, me and you know that well from our football teams. We do. And it goes back to that thing that when we've not got a God-given right to go out there and win every single game.
If that was the case, Kevin, the likes of Toulouse, Wakefield, Hull KR, Salford, they'd never turn up for a St. Home game. Well, to be fair, Salford fans generally don't. But you'd go, you pay your money because in an 80-minute game of rugby league, anything can happen. And I think that's what we'll learn next week going to Whitehaven. Yeah, listen, we'll be even bigger favourites next week at Whitehaven, but you can guarantee we'll now be on it a lot more.
Oh yeah, that's it. I think the pressure might be a little bit ramped up as well next week because it's like, oh, are they having a wobble? All of a sudden, little stories kind of like that can get pushed by the media. No one within the bubble of the club will believe it. They might not even read it. But all of a sudden, social media just allows that to kind of grow and grow and grow. And as I say, listen, these things happen. Am I bothered by it? Not really. You know what? And this is why the playoffs. If we were saying this back in 1993, if this was going in 1993 when it was first past the post or whatever, you'd be like, yeah, that's a bad one to lose. That is a bad one to get beaten at there. We needed to go over there and get the 2 points, come back, and the playoffs mean you don't have to. And the fact that you see today, Wakefield have beaten Warrington at Warrington. You see that Toulouse have pushed teams close. You see that everyone seems to be picking up points off everybody else. Unfortunately, because it's not do or die when you lose a game, because you've got that safety net of top 4 or top 5. Doesn't matter too much when you lose one. Come back to me if we lose 4 in a row now, and all of a sudden I would be like, yeah, there's something wrong there. That we need to have a look at something. But we were missing players. You alluded to that at the start, but I don't think anybody would turn around and say that the players coming in, people wanted to see him. So Jake Winfield sounds like he's had a good game. Great. Good young lad. Come through the system. Looking forward to seeing him carry that on. And I'd imagine he'll play next week. Sirenin, he sounded like he's had a good game. Again, people want to see him. Dan Norman, people want to see him because he's another Alex Walmsley size prop. Brilliant. We've got these players in. They've got to play at some point. And if people say, oh, well, they can't play without Walmsley, to me, it sounded like we were making meters. It was just the decision making at the end of sets. And I'll go back to that 3 sets on the hour mark where we didn't score any points from it and we were putting the pressure on. That's not because of a prop. It might be because you're a little bit mixed up with your second row and your halfbacks haven't chose the right option. I mean, it sounded like Lewis Dodd was carrying a little bit of a knock. So whether that has affected things and affected kind of the fluidity of the play, I don't know. But just...
You suspect, Kev, that Christian Wolf will have learned a lot more from that in defeat than Saints cruising it by 40. And I'm not saying that about the players that have come in. But he might have learned that, you know what, he can rely on Dan Norman for 80 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
He can rely on Jake Wingfield. He's seen Curtis Siren's fitness example. There's a lot you can take from it. Listen, nobody in the club will be concerned. I'm not concerned. You take it and you move on. And I'm assuming the fans in the south of France will be back in a pub now enjoying the French hospitality for the evening.
I'm good on them.
Yeah. Fair play to all the fans who've managed to get over there. It's not the easiest journey to make with the lack of direct flights. So yeah, it is what it is. The question is it quicker to get home from Toulouse or quicker to get home from Whitehaven?
Probably Toulouse. And as you said, I'll go back to it, and you say, don't take anything away from Toulouse. Listen, Toulouse have taken the chances. They chanced their arm. It sounded like they were doing a bit of a Wakefield, throwing it about, late offloads, trying to stretch us wide. Good. It stuck for him. It was going to stick for someone this season. They found a way to beat us. Other teams will try and do similar. So it's now up to us to step up to that challenge. Toulouse have laid down this is how you beat them marker. But now we've got to stand up to that.
It's small margins, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I think
they've took the kickoff on the bounce, their own kickoff, and scored from it. If they don't do that, Saints coming away with a victory. That's sport for you. And do you know what? Wakefield have gone and beat Warrington today as well. We could take the mick out of Warrington, but we said on our fan reaction a couple of weeks ago, Wakefield are a decent side.
Yeah, they are. They're the best. Before tonight, I mean, I'd have to watch that game back, but before tonight, Wakefield were the best team we'd faced. You'd probably say now Toulouse are because they've got the 2 points. So Yeah, Wakefield are a good team. They're slowly getting there. They've got some astute players, but yeah, listen,
Toulouse, I'm just looking at the table, Kev. Toulouse, they've now scored more points than Leeds and Hull KR and conceded less than Cass. The table's put them back bottom while we've been waiting. Narrowly on points difference.
I thought they went. I thought they hadn't come off the ball.
Cass are minus 65, and Toulouse are minus 79. But it's tight down there, isn't it? Listen,
yeah,
there'll be a couple of twitchy bums in Cass and Leeds tonight, with that table being levelled out. I don't suppose that result's done any good for Richard Agar, which is a shame.
No, well, no, it wouldn't surprise me if they did have a new coach by the time we visit them on the 1st of April.
Toulouse's next game out as well, Cass.
Big one that.
Already.
Yeah.
Right then, let's go and enjoy our evening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you for the preview show on Thursday evening. That was not very good, very nice.